Time stands still for 5 seconds in this severely slowed perspective. My god's eye inverts horizons and faces back towards its previous path. In the anterior, Aquito falls with his shattered skull creating quite an impressive display. Droplets of crimson plasma plummet in plodding fluxes as chunks of stained rose pulp and Ossian twirl outward. Abaft my target, I examine a pair of shielded guardians trying to halt their innards from spilling out. Furthest away, the Nine clasps his shoulder in complete agony, his secreted blood paining the toppling man in front of him, who slumps to the ground as his cerebrum and splintered skullcap paints Guido, splashing burgundy fluid, still living muscle and ruptured pink fat on his patriotic button-up. Right of the bullet's glorious triple tagging pathway, the others are revealed to me. The only armored guard left hides behind an upturned table, still looking towards Aquito in contrite horror as his VIP's most vital organ decorates the room's gray walls. Glued around the large window, 5 other scruffy men ready their firearms, all preparing to retaliate. All except for one, whose right leg I blew off with my 3rd shot. He succumbed to his wound's grievous effects and lies against the office's right wall. Following the trail of cherry liquid he mopped across the floor, my lips arch wide. My god's eye spotting the 3 hand fragment version 15 grenades on the unconscious man's gun belt. Time's passage begins reverting to its natural tide as my vision widely morphs and stretches thinly into a channel of warped perception. Reality regressing by snaps of delayed space, my human awareness returns. Cocking my head back slightly, I take a calming breath. 3 beads of sweat run down my temple, my lips shut, and I inhale through my nostrils. Aiming towards the right office wall, I guess the dying man's position. Accommodating my aim an inch down and an inch to the right, I stabilize the rifle's sway. Thick, strong pumps of compressed fibers hold fast anew, and I vamoose into dusk's domain. Initial inertia fades fast as I break through the concrete barrier. Tumbling right past one of the crouching mercenaries, I puncture the belly of the comatose hired gun, lodging myself deep in his small intestine. My flight comes to a damp and messy end. Optics backpedaling in visual minds, my orderly ken is restored. Half an inch off, I adjust, aiming 1/4 of an inch down and 1/4 of an inch larboard. Still huddled near the broad window adorning the southern warehouse wall, the mercenaries return fire. Too frightened to expose any section of their bodies, they reciprocate blindly, only pointing their pieces out the shattered aperture and praying their hail of claret fragments finds a target. Far from the men and further still from blindness, I mash Graves' lever astern for the 5th time. I flare, transcending the concrete wall's surface once more, this time sailing precisely into my intended destination. Entering the emerald enamel casting, I bend and gash the steel serrated shell. Cratering in folded sheets of pre-notched coils, the explosive's internal volatile chemicals are exposed. And with my sparking of fuses marrow, the intense barrage of acute ember nebulas ignite. The first bomb's detonation incites the remaining charges, and the Dexter sector of the former workplace flowers into globes of searing saffron flames. Dust, stone, composite, and gore are blown out of the stone cabin. Through my scope, I even catch a few limbs flailing midair. 3 of the hirelings stagger and fall over to the open door, 2 of them bleeding profusely.
The fucking ship's fucking fire! Fucking ship!
An unarmed legionnaire roars at his partners, his voice shaken by the soul-rocking combustion. Falling ventral to the entrance and laying level on his belly, he faces his AT-36 Contra in my vicinity, whilst his rattled allies wobbly stabilize their NS-3s, squatting for balance. One of the trio halts his assault and leans against the east wall, his injuries beginning to fester. As expected, their enfilade is horribly inaccurate. Accounting for their disorientation, they'd require nothing short of a rocket launcher to flush me out. That or a sniper. My crosshairs closing in on their crippled frames, they take shelter as their magazines dry up, huddling together within the closed space instead of permeating throughout the port, greatly simplifying my operation. Amateurs. Their chosen screen veil is about 20 feet across. Subtracting the entryway and the region east of the smashed casement, their cover is barely 8 feet in diameter. The soldiers of fortune are trapped in an 8x12 kill zone. I address center mass.